Welcome to the Otaku podcast, everybody. My name is Braxton.
And I'm Taylor Fry. This podcast is for otakus by otakus. In this episode of the Otaku podcast, EC Code.
EC Code.
EC Code. All right. So everybody who's watched the first episode, we talked about fantasy. We mostly talked about fantasy and a couple slice of lives. This episode is more of fantasy, but more isekai. And there's a difference, of course, between the isekais and fantasies. Do you care to explain it a little bit?
Isekais, now it was not... Sorry, getting a little hot in here.
Yeah, I was going to say, I forgot to do that.
For the original genre, Isekais was not technically a genre. It was more created by popular demand because they just started to get popular. Isekais basically just means transported to another world. Now, there is no specific how they were transported. A lot of times it's by death or because they were chosen or summoned. But
we'll talk about many cases like how they were transported in the first place. There's some weird ways they get transported. Our first one that we're going to be talking about is kind of like the weirdest way you could get transported.
Weirded because they never explain why he got transported. It's just there.
Yeah.
It's like, boom. There.
So basically, an isekai is somebody was transported to another world. Fantasy is just the world is already like kind of how it is. Kind of like it's how should I explain this? Like a Dragon Ball Z is not an isekai; it's a fantasy because the world's already like nobody was transported to that world in whatsoever. But isekai is somebody is like in the normal world gets transported to a fantasy world. So
yep.
There's
all
that.
right. Before we start, if you've noticed, we've upgraded to a better area and better microphones. I hope you guys like the quality.
Hopefully it's a little different from what it was last time with a horrible boom mic. But we took a look at our first episode and we thought it could have used a better upgrade. So we decided to upgrade to a smaller table but more reliable microphones.
Yes,
and
much better equipment.
Hopefully the levels are perfect. I'm going to probably mess around with my microphone. Hopefully not a lot, but I'm trying to get it to where it's comfortable around me. But
alrighty.
Sometimes we had to like rush through this a little bit. But
first transition, ReZero.
Yes, the most popular isekai to come out in a few years. ReZero.
One of the most, yes, definitely.
And I mean, what's there to say about ReZero that nobody's really said about? There's a lot of episodes though for it being usual anime. Yes. There's a lot of episodes, and
isn't it? Well, I don't know if there's just a lot. I think there was only 24 episodes.
I think it was 23, 24, and then there's...
So it's just like a double arc. It's not incredibly long. Like My Hero Academia, now it's like 50-something episodes in the second season and third season. Same thing with Black Clover.
Yeah.
But they start off with like a normal size, and if it does well, it's just a bunch of episodes.
Yeah. And then ReZero has a second season coming out soon. No release date yet, but it's coming out with the second season. And I don't think there was a movie. There were two OVAs. I know there were two OVAs that were released, like one after the other.
I have not seen those.
One is called Memory Snow, which actually has a Konosuba reference in there somewhere. Because
we'll be talking about that.
Yeah. But when I first watched ReZero, I couldn't tell you how many times there were like scenes that really hit the heartstrings a lot.
They hit you hard.
Because ReZero focuses around several different arcs. It's like there's several different what's it called, like struggles that our main character Subaru goes through, which I have his jacket, which you saw in the first episode.
Wish you would have brought it today.
I wish I should have, but it's winter time and I had my iRacing jacket, so I think I may upgrade that jacket to a ReZero jacket or just some like anime related jacket or something like that.
The Ahagao face one. That one's pretty good.
We saw that the movie theater when we were watching.
That we did.
An anime movie. We'll talk about the movie we were watching.
Yes, we will
soon. But for anybody who really doesn't know the story of ReZero, we'll sum it up as best as we possibly can
without too many spoilers.
Yes, Subaru is just a normal high school. I think it's like a high school NEET. Like it's kind of like the same as Kazuma. He didn't really go outside as much.
Kazuma's from Konosuba. We'll be talking about that in a minute.
But he just gets randomly transported. Like when we were talking about the weirdest ways of getting transported to the fantasy world where they get isekai'd, I guess. we hinted that the weirdest way was ReZero or Subaru's way of going to from his fantasy world in Japan all the way to
not fantasy world,
not
Japan,
fantasy
regular world,
What-
into a fantasy world.
yeah. He walks out of a store, rubs his eyes, boom, in a fantasy world.
There, no transition, nothing. He just walks out after buying some manga, rubs his eyes, and it's just there. You're right into it. There is never an explanation of why he was transported.
And the thing is, he accepted it. He was all
He did.
like,
Oh yeah, he was
didn't
instant.
question-
Heck yeah, let's
he
do
didn't
this.
question it at all. He was just like, yeah.
I mean, I think that's how I'd react. Too.
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, I'd be like, why am I in this situation?
I wouldn't care. I'd be like, yeah, man.
Subaru was just all like, he didn't care that like he didn't have a family anymore, didn't have a house to live in anymore.
Mm-hmm.
All he had was just what he got from the supermarket or whatever. But before we talk about Konosuba, there's actually one series that I've been wanting to talk about for quite some time. That's getting a second season, spring 2020, I believe. Spring or summer 2020. I can't remember.
Before that, we should explain a little bit more about ReZero because we haven't explained much besides how we transported there.
Well, that is true. I guess we'll talk more about ReZero real quick before we talk about the next one. But the whole premise is that Subaru runs into this girl named Amelia, who was trying to go after, was it Felt? Yeah, it was a girl named Felt who stole her
Insignia.
Yes. And
Basically a crest that, like a badge that proves that she's royalty.
yes. And then, you know how in every isekai, there's always a special ability or something like that.
There's always something that sets them apart from
Yes.
the others that were just already there.
It doesn't take long for you to realize what ReZero's little special kink is that our main
It's
character
very disturbing.
can return to a save point after he dies.
Quote unquote save point. It's just like some minor event that for some reason marks that if he dies, he'll go back to that point.
There's the first one is like where he's trying to. It's a little bit of a spoiler, but it's only in like the first episode. But the first two episodes, you're instantly thrown.
He gets
into this.
gutted like a fish.
You're like literally gutted, and returns to a point where he was not really arguing, just standing in front of
An apple
Apple
stand.
Center, and then he was just like, there's a guy who's like, buy this apple or something like that. From the I took that from the ReZero in 9 minutes video from Gigook. Another great video by Gigook.
Somewhat like an abridged type thing.
Yeah,
They just kind of poke fun at
it's
it.
literally the same thing as the Attack on Titan I talked about. Attack on Titan in 9 minutes I talked about last episode. And you know, the more you go into this series, not only does it pull your heartstrings more and more because there's a lot of death.
Remen's best girl.
Absolutely. It's not much that I hate Amelia.
Oh, I hate her.
It's just
Flat out, I do.
I just don't find her as useful as the others, and that's also because Amelia is voiced by the same girl that plays Megumin in Konosuba.
Yeah, that's why you like her.
Yeah, a little bit.
But I despise Amelia. I really do. Rem is best girl, honestly. If you watch it, you'll understand that Rem truly is the bestest of girls.
Yeah. And she is a little crazy.
Well, yeah.
little.
Who doesn't like a little crazy?
Well, sometimes people don't. But, okay, so can I actually transition now?
Yes, you're
Okay.
you're fully welcome to.
All
Sorry.
right, so this one was the first season was released in spring 2019, which was the first season that I started watching anime. And it's all about isekais. In fact, there's 4 isekais in one. It's called Isekai Quartet. This one has 4 of the more popular isekais all combined into one little like spin-off parody kind of series.
Don't they all go to school
Yes.
together?
Yes. It's the Konosuba series, it's the ReZero series, it's the Overlord series, and oh crap, now I forgot the 4th, but it's like a Tanya Blade or something like that. This Sega Evil Tanya Blade or something like that. And I'll pop it
I'm
up.
not sure of that one. I don't think I've heard of that one.
I can remember it. But
Are you sure it wasn't Shield Hero?
no. That's coming in the second season actually.
Ah, gotcha.
Because they hinted it at there was some new students coming in, and then they confirmed it later. It was the Shield Heroes series.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
It's not going to be much of an isekai quartet, more like an isekai quintet. I like that. Give myself 10 points for that. But it's like this series really doesn't follow any stories. It's just like 12 episodes of here's 4 isekais, and you know they'll be thrown into here doing all sorts of school things, and they make references to each of the isekai
Yes.
worlds.
Mind if I button real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, if you do want to watch this, you should probably at least watch or
Yeah.
read up about the four isekais that were kind of merged when they were going to school.
Because when I first
ReZero,
watched it,
Overlord, Konosuba, and can't remember the other one.
it's like Tanya Evil. God.
We'll
I'm sorry
put
to
something
anybody.
up in the video.
I'm sorry
have
to
the name.
anybody who's a big fan of that series. It's just my mind went blank, and it's still gone blank to how exactly you say it. But
We can put a graphic here on the screen
Yeah.
for the name of that one because we
But-
don't remember at this moment.
what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, because when I first started watching it, I never actually. The only one that I watched out of the four was just Konosuba. And then when they were making references to ReZero and stuff like that, I didn't understand it because the only one I watched at the time was Konosuba.
Oh,
And then I watched ReZero, and then I watched back Isekai Quartet, and it was like, oh, now I get what they mean by this and that. But when they were talking about, when they were having the situations with ReZero, it's like, oh, now I get it. They have there's a dub for it on Funimation, but what I just love the absolute most is the subbed when it's Amelia and Megumin. There's one part in an episode or whatever where they're discussing like class activities to do in a vacation or whatever, and Amelia's the leader. And there's like this one moment where Megumin chimes in, it's like an explosion contest, and not really people know about this, but for that like little scene, it was the voice actress just talking to herself for like literally like 2 seconds, because it was Amelia and Megumin both exchanging voice lines. I try to pronounce her name, but I butcher it, so I don't want to try.
we can have a picture on screen of it.
Yeah, and I'll put the name in the.
All right, let's transfer into another one.
Yes.
So we don't get too sidetracked.
Another one this one is in the Isekai Quartet is the Konosuba series. Absolutely, if you're going to get into the Isekai series or the fantasy series, Isekai Quartet's one you should watch, but the Konosuba Nashi Sake no Shika Fuka Fuka wo series, or the Konosuba series. Terrible at Japanese, but I still try to do it. But basically, in this series, it's a guy named Kazuma who, tries to walk aside. He tries to buy a video game. Tries to get it early because of the pre-order bonuses or the deluxe bonuses or whatever. Ends up dying of a heart attack because he was.
Yeah, boom, con.
He feared he was gonna get ran over by a truck, but it was just a tractor. And hope that didn't.
It's kind of a sad way to go.
It is. Honestly, this is one of the funniest isekais to ever watch, especially after you watch not only the first 2 seasons but the movie.
The
which
movie
is what
we just watched very
Yes.
recently.
Oh my god.
Hardest I've laughed in a long time. Had the theater almost in tears.
You know how I said that Steins Gate was the only series that had a 10 out of 10 on my my anime list for me. Add the Konosuba movie to that because it was just
straight up. I couldn't think of a
amazing.
thing I disliked about it.
The only for the most part, the movie itself was incredible. If anybody's going to watch the Konosuba series, you do want to watch the first 2 seasons, then the movie.
Well, I didn't watch the
He
I didn't
hasn't
watch
watched
the entire first season. Mm-hmm. And I didn't watch the second, but the movie was still an incredibly enjoyable experience. There was only like 1 or 2 characters I didn't know, and I just asked Taylor and quick explanation. And I got it.
Honestly, you'll meet every character from the second season. It's like when you watch the movie, there's a lot of new characters anyway. It revolves around the same 5 characters from season 2. Well, mainly 4. It revolves around Kazuma, Aqua. I'll post pictures of each of these. Kazuma, Aqua, Darkness, and Megumin, and then you'll mainly see Yunyun in the movie. But
personally, I think Darkness is best girl.
You already know mine.
Yeah, I know.
It's Megumin, boy.
Yeah, she's 13.
Shish. It's okay if the anime man likes her, it's fine. But
just saying, Darkness is the only one somewhat old enough.
The thing is as much as I like each of the characters, if I had to rank all the girls from Konosuba series from useless to useful, okay, obviously Darkness would be useless.
No, she's useful. Excuse me.
Well, she can't hit targets.
But she plays her role well. She's supposed to be a tank, and she does that well because she's a masochist. She loves the pain.
I guess so. It's either that or
Kazuma.
True.
You might have to bleep that word out.
Possibly.
Sorry.
But you're not wrong with that. It's just, I don't know. Aqua, she's only usually good
She
for
can
cardio
revive him, right?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's like the only thing she's good at.
Even if that's the only thing, that's still incredibly useful. If you can die, I'd like to have somebody that can bring me back.
Pretty much all of them are useless in some way, but useful in another. I guess.
They're only good at one thing.
They're only good at one thing while being completely
Cosmo's
terrible at
just
the rest.
useless all around, pretty much.
He's only good for screaming, especially screaming at Aqua.
And freaking Megamine out with advances.
Oh boy.
You'll understand if you watch.
Yeah, but so from that, okay, to move things on a little quicker, this one came out summer of 2019, so it was still a relatively new anime, and when I first looked this up, I could not believe who animated this, like studio wise.
Okay, well, first of all, the first season did not come out in 2019 because I had watched it way before that.
No, I'm talking about
The movie?
No, I'm talking about the one I was transitioning to.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm moving on
sorry.
to the other one.
Pay no mind to me. Sorry.
Just to make things go a little quicker. But this one is titled, and I quote, "Do you love your mom and her 2-hit multi-target attacks?"
Isekais.
God, and you will not believe.
Isekais.
You will not believe who animated this. I could not believe this the entire time I was looking this up because I've watched only like 3 episodes because I could not believe how much ecchi stuff there was.
All right,
It's
come
hilarious.
On,
It's hilarious.
Spit it out. I want to know.
Okay, it was made by JC staff.
I don't know studios. Sorry.
The same studio that made the Konosuba movie.
Oh.
And I wrote on
I
the
went from 13-year-olds to mothers.
I wrote on the paper in parentheses, "You could have done better." Maybe, but
I mean, if people like
it, I didn't think it was JC staff who made this, but man. All right, so story. All right, pardon my Japanese, but it's this guy named Masato. He was thrown into this RPG world after literally writing on a survey. He was just taking a survey. Like a random girl comes in to his apartment and is all like, "Take this survey," takes the survey, and is thrusted into this world as a beta player. Kind of like in Sword Art Online. But what ends up
probably
happening...
still better than Sword Art Online.
Probably ain't wrong. But what ends up happening is he has a special guest with him. Turns out to be his mother. So the mother is called Mamako Osuki. So I believe, I think the family name is called Osuki. I think that's how it is.
Osuki.
So it's Masato Osuki, I believe.
All right.
But for some reason, his mother only calls him Dakun. Dakun.
You gotta have a little bit of a in there.
Yeah, unfortunately.
All right.
But his mother is really good at hitting everything and like doing all sorts of good stuff. Whereas Masuto,
In bed.
maybe got a
Had to ask.
PG-13. Sorry.
Hey. Those younger shouldn't be watching it anyways.
Anime.
A little edgy 11-year-old, black hair covering one eye. Oh, my life is so bad. Watching anime,
Good Lord, help us all.
Trying to be the mysterious cool guy in anime.
There's so much ecchi stuff in this show. I just have to laugh every time I watch this show because I couldn't. Every time the opening came on, and it flashed the title of the screen where it said, "Do you love your mom?" and her 2-hit multi-target attack.
I thought she was gonna flash the screen.
Ha. But every time the title came up, I couldn't help but die laughing because it's just like this is a real thing. But it's I don't know how, but somehow it's somewhat good. It's not terrible. It's definitely something you should watch, of course.
Personally, I'd never want my mom transported
Just
to
don't watch
another
it with your
world
mom.
with me because that'd be kind of embarrassing.
Just all I gotta say is do not watch this with your mother.
Because I'd be like,
probably
heck
not
yeah, she'd be freaking out.
But what was I gonna say? In the world that they were transported to, it's all filled with like moms and their sons and stuff like that. So
so it's a mom-son world?
I
What?
guess so. So
A lot of MILFs.
yeah, just if you have to watch the first 2 episodes, you'll see
Lock
what I
your
mean.
door and watch it.
Yes, don't watch it with your mom,
I mean, you could.
but I wouldn't recommend
I
it.
would not recommend
All
it.
right, so
Transition.
I did my
probably.
5 in a row for today. Rexon has 5 in a row that he wants to. Oh wait.
God.
Actually, no, I only did 4. Sorry. Another one I would recommend. One is kind of currently airing. I'm not going to really talk about it much because since it's still currently airing, I don't know much of the story itself. No Guns Life. It's about like this man who basically has a gun for a head. It's a good show actually. Yeah, it's a little weird, but it's a good show.
What? So wait a minute. If you were to kiss somebody, would it just be like suck on the barrel of a Beretta?
I wouldn't be too surprised. I would not be too
Can you put
surprised.
a picture of a Beretta up post edit?
Maybe. If I could figure out how to type that out. All right. So you got your
Baretta. You
You didn't
now
have to.
you know.
Okay. You didn't.
Now you have to.
All right. Maybe. All right. Go ahead and do your 5. These are like 5 that Braxton really recommends.
All right. So, Overlord. You've probably heard of it. It's not necessarily as big as like Sword Art Online anything, even though that's terrible.
This one was one of the Isekai Quartet shows as well.
So, leader of a once legendary guild in the game Yggdrasil. It's kind of hard to pronounce because it's Yggdrasil. So, Momonga finds himself trapped in the game, leading his subordinates. He goes out and searches the world, trying to find others that are trapped in the game like him. Because it was once like a VR MMO RPG. So they had like a legendary guild, and there was like I think there was like 72 big players in the guild.
Keep in mind, I've heard of each of these series, but I've just like not really watched any of them.
Yes. So what happens is the game company says they're going to shut down the game. So Momonga stays on there the entire time until the very last second the game gets shut down. But when the game gets shut down, like you see the timer count down, the screen goes black, and he opens his eyes. He's still sitting there. All of a sudden, the NPCs that were in his guild have life, pretty much. They now have personalities and emotions and everything. They're basically people, so he's searching this new world to try and find others that are trapped like him. And he's also quite ruthless.
Yeah.
So, little spoiler, not necessarily big. There's this like arc about a race of lizard people, and basically he just slaughters them all to find the most powerful warriors.
That's one of the arcs that I've heard about the most.
Yeah,
Is like
basically just slaughters the entire race until he finds the most powerful warriors. He's brutal.
I was told that like the main character himself is like super overpowered and like barely anything can take him down. I was wondering, since I haven't watched it myself, like is he that super powerful that he cannot like be taken down to some extent?
Well, he is a mage. That's his class. But he was at a high enough level that he's like really good in basically every other class, but his true class is a mage. That's what he's the most powerful at. Because there is an arc where he's like he wanders the new land to try and find information about what the land's about as a warrior.
Okay.
While he's incredibly powerful at that, he's nowhere near as powerful as it is with a mage.
Okay.
He can be defeated. You just have to drain out all of his magic power pretty
That's
much,
true.
which is incredibly difficult because was like a max level mage in the guild, and he has a bunch of legendary items that also transferred when he went over because he still has his guild, but now it's like real life in another world. All right, so I think we are good there. Transition. We have Rising of the Shield Hero.
Which is actually going to become an Isekai Quartet thing in Season 2. Because I'm going to keep mentioning Isekai Quartet because of the fact that if you watch all these Isekais that we talk about, including the one that I cannot name off of from Isekai Quartet, then you watch Isekai Quartet, it's probably one of the more like... It's kind of like the Avengers Endgame of anime when it comes to the Isekai.
I never watched Endgame or anything
I haven't
like that.
either.
I have no want to. I'm not a fan of Marvel. Probably going to hate for that, but whatever. All right, so...
Or some love.
Rising... I don't know if I want that love. All right, so Rising of the Shield Hero. Naofumi Itawani. I'm terrible with names.
I actually remember watching, like... funny story is that... I'll make this quick. I'm sorry. because I know we don't have much time left here, like less than 20 minutes. But I remember there's like this thing called Big Screen Beta, where it's like VR headset, kind of like VR chat, but a whole lot better. And somebody was screening, like, in a movie theater, kind of like the episodes of The Rising of the Shield Hero. And I can't remember what episode it was, probably like 7 or 8. I joined in, I was watching it, just because, like, for the fact that it's like, it's in my watch list. I was planning on watching it anyway. I'll join in and see what happens. And I remember, like, watching some of it.
All right, now I need to shut your yapper so I can continue this.
Okay.
All right, so Naofumi Itawani. I'm just going to call him Naofumi. Not going to say his... well, actually, that's his first name, because they... list off their last names first, correct?
Yes. In Japan, it's always the family name first.
Yes. All right. So he's an easygoing youth. He was summoned into a parallel world along with 3 other young men from parallel universes. Now, by that, I mean they weren't just pulled from the same time period. Like, there's one that was pulled from, like 800 years ago.
Okay.
Like, just from different time periods. They were summoned to become the world's cardinal heroes and fight the interdimensional hordes of monsters called waves. Each of the heroes were respectively equipped with their own legendary equipment when summoned. There is a sword, a spear, trying to remember the other ones. There is a bow, and I can't remember the other one.
I'll have to pull that up because I'm more than likely going to watch it, and I'll probably pull it up if I can remember.
I'm sorry, I can't remember it at the moment. But, all right. So, Naofumi has the shield, which is, like, the least powerful of the heroes. That is not very well respected at all. It's more if he was an accidentally drug in there, because they only wanted the main 4 heroes and not the little side shield one, because... As the legendary hero, you are not allowed to equip any other weapons besides what you were given. So the spear hero can only use a spear, no matter what. If he tries to equip a sword, he just can't. He can't grab it.
It's kind of like it's like the Thor's hammer.
Yes,
for like different.
But no, like they can't even pick it up. It'll just
yeah.
say cannot be equipped because it has some game-like elements.
Okay, yeah, okay.
But so now Fumi can only use a shield, so that means he can't attack. So what he does is he gets all the heroes get paired up with a warrior of the land per se, and nobody wants to team up with Naofumi because he can't fight. So the princess of the kingdom decides to team up with him, and they go out, kill some low-level monsters, and that night, Naofumi, I think he drank a bit, so he was a bit groggy, a bit drunk, but yeah, he went to bed. Woke up the next morning, guards were at his door. And they were arresting him. Turns out the princess said that he raped her that night, which is entirely false. The princess just hates the shield hero because he's just a useless hero, pretty much. And wanted his... so the heroes get some kind of monthly salary to help them get stronger and buy items and whatnot. To just basically revoke him of that right to have any of the money.
Okay.
So wanted that. And what he does is he can't fight, he can't level up, he can't do anything. So he finds this black market slave trader and buys a... One second. I think it was a fox girl? Yes, there's like Nekos and all that. It was either a fox girl or a cat girl. I'm pretty sure it's fox girl.
Good stuff.
Buys her and makes her fight for him because that's the only way he can get stronger. And their relationship grows. Like, he doesn't do anything awful to her, just lets her do what she wants pretty much. Just has her fight for him because he can't fight back.
Is it one of the characters named like Raptilla or something like that?
Yes.
I remember seeing that character, one of my favorite characters of the show, even though I haven't seen it.
It was a bird. It's genuinely just a bird, not even a person or a demi-human.
That's true.
All right.
So we still have we are unfortunately on a time limit. Unlike last episode, we still have
we have 15 minutes and we have.
You only got 3 left to really talk about.
3 left. Yes. All right.
And then
I'll try to make this a little quick. So that time I got reincarnated as a slime.
Yes.
That's a very self-explanatory title.
This is honestly one of the more isn't it like more wholesome isekais, I guess.
Yeah, it's quite wholesome.
Okay.
It's nothing too dark.
Yeah.
It's mostly just him having fun in a new world as a slime trying to get stronger. So.
I mean, I think the only one that's really necessarily like super dark is ReZero,
and Grimgar of Fantasy and Ash, which we will talk about, which is incredibly dark. All right, so
we start dark.
How this starts out is trying to remember the name of him. Satoru. He was going on a dinner with one of his friends and his friend's girlfriend. And what happens is, as they were walking to the restaurant, some crazed maniac, that was never explained who he is because it's just how he died and transported, but tries to stab the girl, so he jumps in front to stop the knife and gets stabbed and bleeds out. As he's dying, he wishes to never feel pain again. Because of it. Because there's like this voice in his head saying, "What do you wish?" And he says to never feel pain again. And it basically goes through and analyzes all of his feelings. Like there's burning pain, it makes him immune to fire. It's analyzing what he hates to basically transform into some creature that would have all those resistances.
This is honestly something I would like to have happen to me if I end up dying.
Yes. Now, he doesn't know any of that, obviously. He's just dying. He's just a normal guy. But he can transport to another world. He can't see anything, can't feel anything, smell, taste, anything.
He's just a slime.
He doesn't know that, though.
That's true.
It's not openly stated. Like, when he first transports, you don't see the slime. You just see him just kind of, like, has him in, like, kind of a dark, like, complete pitch black, him just, like, blindly reaching out. And he just slowly gets used to feeling things. And basically, he just slowly starts eating things in the caves. And apparently, they were medicinal herbs, so he can create healing potions from it, too. But he meets this dragon called Tempest. That was his last name, I believe. I don't remember his first. But, it was Veldora. He finds this dragon that makes a pact with him that if he can help him escape, the dragon will protect him and make him part of his family. So the dragon renames him as Rimuru Tempest, giving him his last name.
I hate to bring this up here again, but this is kind of like some Rhapsody of Fire would probably love. Because their entire...
But that's not anime.
Well, that's the thing. It's like Rhapsody of Fire is all about dragons and stuff like that. Sorry, I had to bring it up for the second episode.
Yeah, how about you stop breaking it up?
Sorry.
Bite you. All right. So basically, whatever he eats, he gains the ability of. He has something called, like, Devour. So what happens is he finds... So this group breaks into the cave he was in, and he escapes out behind them because he's a slime, Adventurers will attack a slime. So he gets out. He goes and finds these goblins, and they can tell by his aura that he's incredibly powerful because Veldora gave him that power by naming him. In this world, if a monster gets named by a powerful being, it raises their power. They basically evolve.
Okay, I see.
So he finds this goblin village and ends up leading the village and basically creates an entire nation, a peaceful nation of monsters. Like, it's... he's the leader, and he does very well with it. He finds some other people that were also transported, but they were all human.
Okay.
I think we can move on from that now.
Yeah, and one thing I will say before we quickly move on to what we got, like, 2 left after this is there's, like... When you're, like, watching anime, okay, there's a lot of times where you look at specific titles, and it's just, like, for some reason, this should just not work. Like, that time I got reincarnated as a slime. It just kind of sounds like it's...
Sounds long, drawn out, not very well thought out title in English.
Yes, but the more you realize it, and, like, when you actually watch these,
the titles tend to explain what it's about.
Yes, it's kind of like with the Do You Love Your Mom or 2-hit multi-target attacks. As much as it just doesn't sound like it would work, to some extent, it does work.
I think you just liked the edgy.
Maybe. All right, 2 more for you.
All right. Is it wrong to try and pick up girls in a dungeon?
The answer is
no.
no.
I did not just try to lay a one-liner on you. That is actually the title of it.
But is it really?
Nah, obvious. I just want those one-liners. But,
wink,
all right.
Wink, wink.
So the story follows Belle Cranel, a 14-year-old solo adventurer. So gods and goddesses have come down to the land and basically created families. Like, not necessarily families. They take warriors under their wing and allow them to progress and get stronger under their power.
Okay.
So Belle gets taken under the wing of the goddess Hestia. It's Hestia.
Hestia, yeah.
Yes.
Roughly
Now, there is
close.
no other people under her because she's kind of useless goddess, like Aqua from Konosuba.
Yeah.
But she still is able to allow him to power up. Basically, he works hard every day just to get enough food to eat and survive. So he tries to improve himself, but he never seems to make any progress.
Okay.
He looks up to Aze Wallenstein, a powerful and famous swordswoman who once saved his life and with whom he fell in love. He also ends up creating a harem of his own without realizing it. It's not like a purposeful thing. He just ends up doing a lot of nice and kind things because that's just the kind of guy he is, and ends up creating a harem.
God,
it's kind of entertaining, though.
I love me some harem anime.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Especially if you watch the Quintessential Quintuplets. Talked about that last one.
So he wields a dagger as his weapon, which a decent amount of them tend to, but it's very well done. You really connect with the main character, and it gets pretty dramatic towards later parts.
We go from something incredibly we go from two that are more on the lighthearted side
to dark.
Yeah, we started dark with ReZero because ReZero was definitely not lighthearted in any shape or way, and then we're gonna end dark. Let's get to it.
So a bunch of teenagers, I think it's somewhere in the 20s, were transported to another world.
This is called
Grimgar of
There you go.
Fantasy and Ash.
I was gonna actually I didn't think you were gonna go on.
Sorry.
Go on.
So it revolves around 6 teens, led by a man named Monato, which is one of the teens. He's kind of the leader type. They band together, joined class guilds. Now, this is like your classic fantasy world, but you have to join a guild for specific classes. Like there's a healer one, like a thief one, like, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they begin hunting weak monsters as a way to go stronger. Now, goblins, you know how they're easy pushovers in most of them. In this one, it actually shows the brutal, life or death fights.
Unless it's either this anime and Goblin Slayer that make you want to change your mind about goblins.
Oh, no, but Goblin Slayers portrays them at least a bit weak.
Okay,
this
that's
one,
true.
no, they seem incredibly powerful.
Okay, that is true.
Like this one, they can easily, 2 of them can easily take on a normal warrior.
Oh, jeez.
Like that powerful. So initially things do not go well because they're just learning and trying to figure out how to survive. So they just keep hunting and trying to further strengthen themselves to make a better living. And leader Monato, this is going to be a spoiler, but it happens fairly early on. He was the healer. He dies saving the team, which is kind of disappointing. So the responsibilities after he dies falls onto the thief Haruhiro.
Haruhiro? Okay.
Yes. So he ends up becoming a leader. Even though he doesn't want that position, he's the only one that's somewhat qualified to do that.
Yeah.
The show revolves around him. It never revolved around Monato. It was always him a bit.
Okay.
It revolves around all of them, but a bit more centered towards him.
Okay.
But it's a very good watch. It's very dramatic, emotional. You feel their struggle.
Yeah.
And I would recommend it.
All right. So we still got 10 minutes left. I think, less than 10 minutes now. But so right now we've just discussed about 10 isekais / fantasy, mainly isekais, that we would definitely recommend. Okay, there's definitely some that obviously you should not watch. Like there's literally that's one where the main character's special ability is the ability to use a smartphone.
Yeah. Isn't that one like I brought my smartphone to another world?
I think so.
That one, the story was okay, but the fact it was not that good.
It's just
honestly.
the biggest issue, like I said in the first episode with anime, is especially now, there's a lot more isekais and a lot more fantasy.
I still
animes.
entirely watched the smartphone one. Was it nearly as good as any of the others we listed here? Absolutely not.
Because
it was still an okay watch. Like, it was a decent casual watch, but if you're going to be extremely critical about it, I would not watch it.
I would say, I mean, for the most part, we've picked 10. For the most part, we picked about 10 of them. The only one I really
heavily recommend.
Yeah, the only one I really didn't discuss about as much was the No Guns Life anime that I talked about. But with that, like I said before, it's still currently airing. It's just I think I just started watching the first episode like just a couple days ago, and I forgot most about it already. Not to say it's bad, it's just I gotta watch more of it. But the next episode, I guess we could call it our final.
No. It looks like we have enough to at least make 2 more episodes. We have quite a large list. Let me hold this
Yeah.
up.
I think there's only 12. We discussed, I
The
think...
blue are the isekais. Everything down from the
Yeah.
blue is what we're talking about.
Yep, and that's what we're going to be talking about next episode. I think on the first episode we talked about there's 15. We talked about 15 on the first episode, and there's only like 12.
Depends how quickly we go through it.
Yeah,
If we want to go more in depth about certain ones, like let's
maybe there's a few.
My Hero Academia.
The thing is,
We'll have a guest for that specific anime.
I was gonna say we plan on making a mini series about like specific animes. We're gonna call it Weeb Reviews because two reasons. One, that's just a PewDiePie parody, I guess. Not trying to
rip them off.
Yeah,
It's just
and
like
second, if you go on my channel, which is currently called the Fast Lane Racing Station, I did a anime review. Domestic Girlfriend, which is titled Weeb Reviews, and I kind of just want to continue that because it's just easier to say and all that sort of stuff. But we may not talk about it that much in the next episode because
we'll briefly go over it.
Yes,
but we'll have our friend Dakota on here.
Yes, it's not going to be the next.
We'll
episode.
do a mini episode entirely on My Hero Academia.
Yes, as much as. Those two love My Hero Academia. I just haven't really gotten into that series.
You're gonna have to brush up a little bit before the episode, though.
Just so I don't feel entirely useless. But there's that series, and of course, everybody's favorite series is the last one. That'll probably go on a Steins Gate style rant about. Which, by the way,
Domestic Girlfriend.
I do apologize if anybody watched that episode to where I was discussing Steins Gates, because I did mess up a little bit when trying to discuss not only the first episode, but...
You went on quite a bit of rant. I tried to signal him a few times.
When I go on rants, sometimes I don't make sense, and...
I think next time I might just have to butt in and say, I think we've gone on for a little too long.
So, but for, Steins Gate fans, try not to kill me. It's been a long...
you can try.
You can try, but in the end, I'll come back by death like Subaru. Ha! But,
what would be your checkpoint? 3 years old, and you have to relive all of that?
God. That would be a pain.
Yeah. But would you still take it if it brought you back to, 3 years old?
Maybe. Maybe I can become a weeaboo a little quicker. Maybe, 13 years old or something like that. I could actually start watching anime instead of 18 or 17, like when I actually started. But
yes.
Next episode doesn't have too much of fantasy and stuff.
No, a lot of it, a good amount is comedy.
It's
some
mostly
slice of life.
There's a lot of comedy. There's some slice of lives. There are some fantasies in there, but not as much as.
There is some psychological and dramas, though.
Yes. Other than that, I think that's pretty much all we got to say for the second episode. I think the first episode did really well, even though there was some minor flaws to it. But
yes,
I think
there's always room to improve, and we'll try to polish that. And the more episodes we do, and the more comfortable we are in front of cameras, and the more experience
I do say on this one though, we did feel a little bit more comfortable towards the cameras and stuff like that, than the first time, because
I know you were looking at the camera a bit more than the first one. That's something you just need to work on.
Yeah,
look at the camera more.
I think
I always try to a lot.
I think it was just mainly
you guys.
I think it was just mainly because on the first episode or whatever, there was just sometimes I had to look down and stuff like that. And yes, I unfortunately did still look at my phone, but that was just mainly because of time. Because
we are on a time constraint.
Unlike the first episode, we had a little bit of an issue with timing. We've been trying for how long? A week or two?
At least a week and a half to try to get this episode done, but the schedule's never lined up correctly.
Yeah, and we're
trying to do this as much as possible,
yes.
but life tends to get in the way. And
absolutely.
I'm sorry for that.
Yeah, and we try. I want to try and get these out every week, if not every other week. And it's
we can try for that, but I don't think it'd be terrible if it's only 2 or 3 times a month.
That too. So
the schedule will tend to change and adapt according to what's happening in our lives.
Yep.
And we can put out a little mini video. It's sorry, our next podcast is going to be a little late. Things are happening.
So, for anybody who's beginning to get into anime, these are the episodes that you would definitely want to watch, podcast wise, if you wanted to get recommended some animes. Obviously, if you've already seen the animes, or if you've seen anime for several years now to this point, and haven't seen these animes that we're listing, well, there we go. We're just, naming off some animes that we recommend watching. It's not so much as, we're trying to, build newbies like in Minecraft, where we just like build it up from the ground up and stuff like that, new weebs and stuff like that.
You don't have to be new to watch this.
Yeah, exactly. That's what.
And I think if you made it to this point, you've had a good time, most likely.
Yeah.
If not, we're fully open to constructive criticism, even if you did have a good time.
Any
There's
feedback,
always things to
any
improve
feedback's definitely worth that. Especially, I also put our email in the description, so that way, if anybody wants to talk, ask us a question or talk about
or
a specific
possibly
anime,
business things.
yes, we can work stuff out. So,
Yes.
the emails and stuff down in the description below, as well as the nice little red subscribe button if you haven't done that already.
Yep, hit that bell.
Hit that bell, everybody, and use code Otaku for 30% off on your Walmart purchases.
Okay, that's completely false. I think we should have a Discord up. We should create a Discord here pretty soon.
We should. Probably once we get up to like double-digit subscribers, we'll probably open it
the
up.
10th subscriber mark, we'll create a Discord for all otakus and weebs to hang out, chat, and have a great time.
We're trying, as much as I would like to have this on Spotify, paying
Costs quite a bit of money,
it
so
does. So mostly
we'll stick to YouTube for now.
Yes.
I do like the vodcast though.
I
Actually
do,
having
yes.
our faces and talking,
Yes.
so you can see our expressions and
it does,
all that.
especially when we're talking about something and we have like our mind's gone blank. It's just better to have like pictures and stuff up like
Yes.
that. So thank you all so much for tuning in to the second episode of the Otaku Cast. Next episode, we will cover more of like the comedy and slice of lives, but mainly comedy animes and stuff that many people should actually try and watch. And there's definitely people who are going to have different opinions on them, but in our opinions, just some couple of animes and stuff that everybody should watch.
Thank you all for coming out, and we shall see you in the next episode.
Heck yeah. All right. Good night, everybody.
Isekais.
Oh, boy.
I hear it now, boys. We've got the chant coming in.